The Norfolk Broads are widely known as one of the most important wetlands in the UK and have been famed for centuries for their gin-clear water and their abundance of wildlife. However, during the 20th century, the Broads experienced a great decline in their biodiversity as a result of sewage runoff and agricultural runoff. The balance of nutrients available in the water changed radically, and the water changed to green, meaning light could no longer penetrate to the rare plants on the bottom of the Broads. This meant a great decline in the biodiversity of the Norfolk Broads, and this situation has lasted until today. Happily now, scientists know a great deal more about how to restore water quality in the Broads. They know about tipping the balance back to healthy water and allowing biodiversity once again to flourish. We've come to Ranworth today to find out about a partnership between the Norfolk Wildlife Trust, the Broads Authority and the Environment Agency to tip the balance.
So what you can see beside us now is a little bit like an iceberg. You can only see a very small proportion of the engineering that's actually been installed. So this is a barrier in effect, and as it sinks down and it's embedded into the sediment at the bottom of the Broad, it makes this physical barrier for the whole length from bank to bank, so that we don't get any fish passage from the main body of the Broad into the exclosure area. We're going to redistribute the fish that are here to get more of a natural balance, allow the zooplankton, the small water fleas and things, to grow in this water, which will then eat the algae, clean the water up, the water becomes clear, get that sunlight down to the Broad bed, and then away go the plants.
On the edge of the Broad here, you're also going to be doing some quite pioneering work to establish a form of vegetation that's largely been lost from the Broads.
So one of the habitat types, which can be very important, particularly for fish spawning and fish refuge, is this marginal emergent vegetation. At the moment, at the Broad, that margin, that complex margin, has really been lost. So we've got a fairly straight edge. So what we've got with the barriers is we've piled into the bank. So there's hard piling which the barriers are connected to. What will then happen is that this bank is going to be laid back, so it will be battered off using an amphibious digger, and then there will be a system put in place to establish that emergent vegetation. Things like reed mace, reed will be encouraged to kind of walk back out into the Broad to provide that emergent complex edge which fish can then spawn in, fish can take refuge in, but also for the zooplankton, because they also need that type of refuge. The other effect the barriers have is they prevent fetch, so the wind blowing the wave action across the water, these barriers just break that up a little bit and have the added advantage that they're going to help us to establish that margin, that improved margin.
And there's something very special that you're doing here at Ranworth Broad, isn't there? That you're connecting via a dike to the river system.
Yeah, so this is something which hasn't been done before, certainly has never been done in the Broads before. Normally these type of exclusions, they are completely standalone, so they're separated from the main water body entirely, so you don't have any fish movement. There may be fish in there, but it will be a different assemblage of fish, and that will be controlled within the barrier area. One of our exclosures here at Ranworth, we have a long sinuous dike connection through Ranworth Fen, actually back out to Main River. So there is a free flow and a free pathway for fish actually to move in and out of one of these exclosures. Through the research we've done, this type of a dike system, with the right number of predatory fish, pike, perch, still in the system, we're very much hoping and expect that water to go clear and to actually prove that you can maintain an open connection to Main River here in the Broads.
Ben Garrard met Emily Dimsey, monitoring officer at Norfolk Wildlife Trust, to learn about the effects of biomanipulation.
Emily, it's quite clear there's lots going on in there. What have we got?
We've got what's called holly-leaved naiad, which is actually a red data book species and is a priority species for us. And these sorts of species you wouldn't find in polluted waters. These are species you'd typically find in unpolluted waters. And we've also got loads and loads of invertebrates that you can see sort of diving around in there.
And this is all because the water's clearer?
Exactly. I actually took some water samples, one from Ranworth and one from cockshoot, and you can see here the water clarity. The difference
so
is
this is
amazing.
Ranworth, and
Yes.
this is from just here?
Yes, yes. So the reason we've got the water clarity here is because Cockshoot Broad was actually biomanipulated in the early 1980s. And what this has involved is actually damming up the dike network and completely stopping any fish, any water movement from any bodies of water outside of this area. And what was then done is the fish were actually removed from the Broad. Really what it is the fact that you've got the clear water. That means that the light can penetrate to the bed. And all that seed bank, which has been here historically, has then been able to thrive. And that's why we've got the diversity of aquatic plants, and you've got the really nice margins here as well.
I'm meeting Adam Pimble, Broad South Reserves Manager for Norfolk Wildlife Trust, to learn about another aspect of the project. So Adam, we're standing on a work in progress. What are you doing here?
We are, yes. So part of the project that's been going on here is actually improving the habitat for some of the bird life as well. So this, what we are standing on, is an artificial tern raft. The old rafts, they're getting a bit old, they're looking a little bit tired, and actually they're getting a bit crowded. So what we've done, we've built this big raft here. We hope that we can expand the colony size, give them a much nicer, secure sort of haven where they can actually join up and make a proper colony in one big area.
So on the surface that we're standing on, what are you going to do to make this a suitable home for nesting common tern?
So once we've actually joined it all up and it's all fixed nice and tight, and we put some guarding around, we will put a membrane on that. And then we'll put a mixture of 10 and 20 mil stone. So, what you'd find in most driveways. And we will put a sort of layer of that all over the raft. And it's actually in that the terns will make their nest.
This is part of the BIFA award funded project, but there are also other funders who've helped to provide this tern raft.
That's correct, yes. So although it's sort of under the BIFA umbrella, the project here, this is actually supported by Essex and Suffolk Water. So they've actually put the finances into this creation that we have here.
And this will benefit not only the terns in terms of nesting habitat, but also the clear water itself will be good for terns and make this a better nesting site.
You've got it, yes. So the terns themselves, they will be loving the clear water. There will still be some small fish in these enclosures. The fish will be in there, the terns will be able to see them straight away, pick them out, and they've got instant food.
So the aspiration of the largest exclosure area at Ranworth is there is a dike system which links from our exclosure to Cockshoot. That dike is dammed at the moment, but in time we may well be able to take that dam away and actually reopen Cockshoot to the main river body. If we can keep that clear water in the exclosure and at Cockshoot, that will be a major success for the project. Another one of the metrics we've put in place is a number of fish monitoring stations which are positioned around the Broad and actually in the dike systems of the fen, and these systems will pick up and record tagged fish that pass through the sensors, so we'll get an idea of how fish are moving in and out of areas and indeed in and out of the Broad as well. For the barriers, we've certainly got evidence from the application at Barton that they were still serviceable 15, 20 years. We expect with the proper care and attention they'll go beyond that, because we did actually manage to repair some of the barrier sections at Barton, but we very, very much hope that we'll be able to remove them before that, because the nutrient status of the Broad is continuing to decline, it's continuing to lower, and if that carries on, we may be in a position where with good established plant populations, those barriers and sections can be slowly removed. It'd be amazing to see these huge areas now we've got at Ranworth go clear and actually establish water plants. The real goal, which would just be incredible, is if that then tips over and the system right the way through this mid-Bure actually tips over and we start getting water plants in all the river bodies, the main river, all the water bodies that link up to that main river, if they all start going clear and we get plants growing everywhere, it would just be an amazing accomplishment.
As we've seen, there's a tremendous amount of hard work taking place here at Norfolk Wildlife Trust Ranworth Broad and nearby at Barton Broad as part of Tipping the Balance. And at Norfolk Wildlife Trust, we're excited to see the benefits for freshwater biodiversity in the coming months and years.